you can put in a question, how do you throw a fastball? How do you throw a cut fastball? How do you throw a slider? It'll come back and tell you that. I've put it on the back of my phone because my wife and I walk our dogs in the evening sometimes.
Yeah.
And we live right behind a school.
Okay.
And kids and people are always just driving fast down that road. So I'm going to take mine and start capturing screenshots of how
there
fast.
You go. Yeah. All right. Welcome everyone to another episode of Beyond the Glove. As always, I am your host, Ben Loafman. So for the last two episodes, we went hard on the Japanese glove. So definitely go back and listen to those. Episode 31 was with Jackson Jabera of Jax. And then we had episode 32 with Justin Yee, who runs 818 Gloves. Those are super fun to dive into that with those guys. With this next episode that we have coming up, so it's going to be a little bit of a baseball interest piece. I think that everybody always has interest when it comes to baseball, just figuring out who throws the hardest pitch out there. So there's just something in humans. We want to find out who the top dog is, who can throw the projectile the fastest. And so a few weekends back, I was hanging out with my family on a Sunday, and I had a new gadget. And so I tell my brothers I was like, all right, let's meet up at mom and dad's house. And, we're all 25 to 40 years old and we're all excited. I have a pocket style radar gun is what I have in my hands. So I'm super giddy. We all get back there and we're just, after like 5 warm-up pitches, we're just trying to see how hard we can throw the ball. The velocities were a little disappointing when they came back. I was done throwing. My fingertips were literally tingling, and I threw a whopping 77 miles an hour, which was I felt to me like I was throwing at 110, and not what I was hoping for. One of my younger brothers, he won the competition. Throwing at 80 miles an hour. However, he spiked it into the ground. So I don't know if that counts because he was not terribly accurate. But during that party, the gadget that we were using, and I don't know if that's the right word, but we were using a Tag 1 sports radar. And that is who our guest is today. Today, I have Jarrod Nichols of Tag 1 Sports here with us to talk about baseball radar guns and just training with technology, and also to give them an overview of your guys' product, which is super cool. So Jarrod, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me. This is fun. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's super cool. So we'll just, before we get to the Tag 1 product, let's go ahead. Let's just kind of, like, you're a baseball, you love baseball. So if my brothers and I, if we wanted to do what we did that weekend 20 years ago, what were our options that we would have had when it come to tracking our speed?
Not very many options, to be honest. A little anecdotal story. When I was hired at Bushnell in 2016, my boss that hired me was on a flight from California back here to Kansas City.
Okay.
And he was sitting next to Dusty Baker.
Okay.
And they started talking about trying to track a baseball speed. And that's how the Bushnell radar gun was born.
Really?
He and Dusty started working on it together, and that's how the Bushnell radar gun. So it was released in about 2004, 2005, I think, somewhere in that range. So that would have been one. And then there was a few others, but not very many. And they've updated that device several times since then, but it not real accurate
really?
Like you have today. So,
and also I feel like I don't have a ton of experience with like an actual radar gun, but they come in like a briefcase, don't they? And they're old, super clunky
and big. And
yeah,
absolutely.
That's funny. I feel like the other thing, people can call me out if this wasn't true, but I feel like I had a baseball when I was a young kid that it had like a little digital screen, and if you press the button, you could supposedly throw the ball and it would tell you how hard you threw the ball or something like that. I want to say like Franklin made it or something like that.
So. And those devices, those balls still exist out there.
Do they really?
You can find them on Amazon and places, but yeah,
nice.
They're not real accurate, but we've not tested, but that's something maybe we should do in our lab and in our office in Lenexa.
That would be kind of fun for to like test your guys's against like every gimmicky device that you guys could get your hands on. That would be pretty funny. But yeah, as far as like the early days of speed tracking, I was super excited when we found that we had the opportunity to have you guys on. I was just going and tracking. I was just trying to find like everything I could about early methods of speed tracking. And one that I thought was super cool. So the guy who they credit with inventing the idea of tracking speed with radar was this guy named Danny Litweiler. I believe that's how you say his name. And he was a Michigan State baseball coach in the 1970s. And he actually played, he was an all-star at one point within Major League Baseball. I think he played for the Brooklyn Dodgers in the 40s or something like that. And he was sparked the idea, I guess there were some police officers that were like watching traffic around the Michigan State campus. And he saw them with their radar gun and he's like, I bet that would work for a baseball, to track a baseball as well. So they did that. And then he saw that the policemen were doing that. He invited one out to his field to track the speed of his pitchers. The only trouble was they had to have it plugged into like a device to give it power. So they had to bring their cruiser out to the baseball field and they had to stick their radar gun into the cigarette lighter to get it to track, which I thought was pretty funny that they had to bring it up there. But it's the history of tracking pitches. It goes back even way further than that. For those of you out there who've seen the documentary Fastball, I think it was 2016. It absolutely just like blows your mind when it comes to how the tracking of pitches has gone. Have you had the opportunity to see that one yet?
I haven't saw it yet, but that's top of my list.
I would
definitely
say
want to see it.
I would say tonight you should go home. Hopefully our Royals will win a game, and then tonight you can watch that afterwards. But it's wild. As far back as I think 1910 or 1912, Walter Johnson. It started with him going to a ballistics tracking facility in Connecticut. I think people that were measuring like the speed of bullets and things like that, they were able to have him do it. And he was rocking like a collared shirt and tucked in shirt, was trying to throw a baseball. I think they only tracked it in the 80s. Bob Feller came in the 40s and 50s. They had him race a motorcycle with his pitch. But then Nolan Ryan as well, as always. We were talking before we went on. Nolan Ryan's like the gold standard when it comes to tracking speed. You guys have Tag's done some research on if that so Nolan Ryan, the 108 is like the standard. They say he threw 108 miles per hour. Is that correct?
That's what they project. A lot of guys have done some algorithms and calculations because, like you were saying, the ball was tracked like at home plate or a little bit in front of home plate. And the more accurate of a speed velocity is right out of the hand. Because you don't have the friction and the drift of the ball as it's coming across the home plate. And they tracked it at just over 100 miles an hour. And they're like, well, if they would have tracked it at his release point, it would have been 108. And then one of our interns did some research on this, and they had some doctors look at it, and there's no way. There's no physical way that somebody could throw 108 because Aroldis Chapman is credited with 105 or something like that in a game. And so they're like, 20 years ago, there's no way. And so there's a lot of debate on it. But Nolan Ryan, I still wouldn't want to face his fastball, even at his age now.
I err on the side that there will never be another Nolan Ryan. Never. And I know everybody, when it comes to, pitchers pitching deep into games these days, are like, no one's like Nolan Ryan anymore. Sometimes I don't think people realize that he was a complete unicorn, and no one's going to match up to anything that he did. So,
and to think he never won a Cy Young, that still blows my mind today. I know. It's like, how did he not? And especially the season where he threw like 3 no-hitters. It just,
it's kind of funny for him, Pete Rose, he recently passed away. I feel like he was more famous because he's not in the Hall of Fame. And I feel like that only grows Nolan Ryan's legend. That is like, he never even won a Cy Young. Yeah. So, but 7 no-hitters, I think.
Yep.
He I feel like he walked a lot of people too. So that probably held him back a little bit, but no, he's the man. So, but yeah, let's go ahead. Let's just dive into, the Tag One Sports. So your role with Tag One Sports? What do you do, Jarrod?
So I'm the managing director for Tag Sports.
Okay.
So I've got a couple of engineers work for me, a marketing manager, and business analyst, and we pretty much do everything.
Okay.
this morning I was packing and shipping a product to a consumer, and then we got some trade show equipment back, and I took one of our Bobcats out to the back and helped unload the shipping crate, and we're all hands on deck all the time.
Nice.
And so I do whatever I can to help us succeed and try to get more units sold.
Perfect. And give us the elevator pitch for your guys' signature product that you have right now on the baseball side.
So the Tag One Sports Radar is a compact credit card size radar that can MagSafe on the back of your phone.
Okay. Show us that he's got one right here for those watching on YouTube.
It's already on the back of my phone. Very small, almost credit card size, maybe a 1/2 inch thick. Snaps on the back. You power it on, Bluetooth into your phone, and then you're able to then use the dashboard on the app. And I'll pull it up here real quick. And once it's connected, you could stand behind a pitcher, stand behind the catcher, and then you can see a speed on the display.
Nice.
So
that's pretty cool. When you guys have it as well, it does come with like the stand that you can hold it on to. I wanted to feel like I was like a scout or something like that when I was doing it with my brother. So I held it out there with my hand like I was all official. I didn't even think that you could actually just clip it onto your phone back there like that.
But yeah, it comes with a bracket. Comes with a little mini tripod that it can also act as kind of like a little gimbal or a handle.
Yeah.
Or you can set it out behind you. It works for baseball, softball, and it also does golf. You can see the hit exit velocity or your hit speed from a golf ball.
Yeah. I think this is pretty cool. I imagine that a lot of our listeners are also pretty into golf as well. And so the parent company for Tag One is Einstein. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you based out of Lawrence, Kansas.
That's right.
And so Einstein, they have created products that's been used by like Tiger Woods.
That's correct.
They?
Yep.
So,
so they worked with Full Swing to create the launch monitor. And also the TGL experience down in South Florida. Tiger Woods is an investor in that. A lot of the software that was done for TGL was my team when I was working with them when I first started a year ago. My software engineers were down in Miami working on the product and getting the TGL experience going so that in January they could broadcast the first ESPN indoor golf experience. So,
nice. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Nice. And it's like just goes to show that like you guys know what you're doing with your
our DNA is really long and a lot of cool experiences. Our founder Zongbo was a physics professor at University of Kansas, and he was doing some radar work over Antarctica. In a C-130, and that's when he got the idea to really bring the radar to the industrial and the consumer space. And so he's Einstein's about 10 years old now. We do radars for bobcats, skid steers, combines, drones. We also did the chronograph for Athlon. So you can put the chronograph next to your muzzle on your rifle, shoot, and it'll tell you the speed of the bullet.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Yeah, you guys, I mean, you guys are all over the place. You can definitely, I feel like you can definitely handle baseball with where you guys have been. So with your guys, as you kind of demonstrated there, I mean, that super small, I mean, you could just stick it in your pocket and go wherever you need. So the big systems that are out there right now, I'm thinking of like a TrackMan and a Rapsodo. How do you guys differ from like those big ones?
Yeah, TrackMan and Rapsodo, they're really good products, but they're also really expensive. They're over $1,000 or more. That TrackMan, I think, is over $5,000. Ours is portable. I can go out to behind the pitcher while they're throwing batting practice, go behind the catcher, and in the same time. Where the TrackMan and Rapsodo, you have to pick it up, you have to move it. We do have there's a battery in this already. So if I want to stick this behind the catcher and go stand behind the pitcher and see what's going on, I can do that. Or I can put my phone with the radar and then I can do a guest share and I can share it to somebody else's phone.
Gotcha.
And so they could be clear in the other dugout, 150, 200 feet away, and you can still see what's going on the guest access mode.
I thought this was pretty funny. I was reading your guys' blog and you're describing some of the more advanced systems that are out there. And the description was it was when they were describing those products, it was a little bit of like overpriced, measures everything in sight, probably crushed it. When I sat on it, does this case look I'm smuggling weapons into the stadium? I thought that was kind of a funny description of some of the bigger, just because they're bigger in size.
Our marketing department's very creative.
Their marketing department's sitting over in the corner while we're, but no, I thought that was really funny. And then with your device as well, there's also similar like pocket friendly devices that are out there too. How do you guys differentiate yourselves from the more like pocket friendly type radars?
Yeah. So the leading pocket friendly, it requires 3 AAA batteries. And if you have it on constant mode, it'll drain between 15 minutes and 30 minutes if you're using it a lot.
Okay.
Ours has a 6-hour battery life. It's got a lithium ion battery in it. I also think when we were testing over the winter, we were testing against Stalker, and Stalker is kind of the creme de la creme. When you go to a college baseball game, and you see a scout up there, he's got a Stalker, and it's this big gun sitting behind it, and you see them with their clipboards and keeping track of everything, and
they don't even hold it; they just kind of like rest it wherever they can.
Because it's so big. I mean, you can see them; they're like, and then they keep putting it down. Where this, you can just pop it on the back of your phone, and and when we were testing, we were plus and minus one mile an hour on average behind Stalker.
Okay.
Whereas the pocket friendly one they were all over the board. Plus they didn't have directional filtering, and because it was winter, we were in a batting facility, and there was kids hitting next to us or pitching. That other one catches everything. Our filter even filters out the spinning wheels of a pitching machine.
Really?
So we're able to get rid of some of that so that it captures what is most important to you, whether you're hitting velocity or pitching.
Nice. So I'm interested as well. So I was just thinking about this as we were talking about scouts. So like the sign of the scout is when they're at the baseball tournament, they got like a hat. Usually it's more than just a ball cap. Some of them got like not a cowboy hat, but kind of like not a fedora either, but like a sun hat.
Yep.
And they usually have their collared shirt on it. They have the radar gun with them.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like scout? Have you guys ever talked to scouts? Like, do they want to have the radar, or would they prefer to have something smaller that they could be like more conspicuous, I guess?
That's one of the things that we've gotten some feedback on, is they like that this is so small that you could just walk by and kind of catch it, because when you walk in with a big radar gun or something that's dedicated for this, people are like, everybody crowds around. They look over the shoulder. What's going on? What are you, and you're right. The scout, I went to a lot of KU baseball games over the last handful of years, and you can always spot a scout. A lot of times they have their like polo shirt on, and then that short sleeve windbreaker that's over it, and then they're either their team hat or like you said, like a sun hat to cover their ears and stuff. But and you can see that they've got their briefcase and the case for their gun and all this stuff, and it's like they definitely would love to have something more compact and easier to carry around.
Yeah. I feel like there is some like unwritten code for what they have to wear while they go out there. It's like, but it would be hilarious. They'd be if they showed up with like flip-flops and shorts and like a t-shirt, and they got their little pocket radar, and they just have like a little no one would probably think they'd be like, who's this? Yeah, this wannabe scout over here, who it could be like a MLB level scout, like a cross checker or something like that. You never know.
Very true.
I'm also interested as well to get just as far as, for baseball in general and with your guys' product, like where tech is kind of headed. So with this, in this sector of the market right now, I'm interested to know, does it come directly from companies like you guys? Just you're like trying to be ahead of the game and thinking about what people want next before they bring it to you? Or are you more reliant on like player feedback and things like that?
It's a combination of both for our company.
Okay.
We've got a great R&D team overseas. We've got a good engineering team in our facility. And one of our engineers was a former college baseball player, so we rely heavily on him. But as we're building stuff and finding out things that could happen, we will then go and test and see if there's some feedback from the actual players. This kind of reminds me of the old quote from Henry Ford. If you would have asked a consumer what they wanted before they knew an automobile exists, they would ask for a faster horse.
Uh-huh.
And so it's kind of the same way with our products and our innovation is if you go ask them for something, they may not know what they want.
Yeah.
But that's how we tease out the consumer demand is trying to find out where their pain points are so that we can go and solve them. And that's what we work with our R&D team on. And we've got a great team over in China where a product is built. Our owner owns that factory as well. He's partners with some folks for that factory. And just today we're working on a new project for a facility. And so just a lot of cool things that can happen. The other aspect of this is every time I start looking at some competitive type products, Major League Baseball and their investment arm is investing in some of these areas. So MLB is really invested in trying to find new things and new technologies. I think they have like a handful of companies that they've invested in this space. And you know, the movie Moneyball with Brad Pitt and them, I think that has really exacerbated the push for data analytics.
Yeah.
But what's going on, in my opinion, what I'm seeing is there's a lot of data, but there's no analysis or insight from that analysis and what needs to be done. And so I don't think the consumer realizes yet what's at their tip of their hands, especially with our product, because we can start capturing a lot of that data. And then with our artificial intelligence, we're able to pull in analytics and insights and let them start figuring out how to get better. And then the coach can interject himself into that situation and help coach the player on how to be better.
Yeah.
How to increase your velocity, how to increase your accuracy, and some of those things.
That's pretty cool. So almost, it seems like almost having like a AI coach or something like that. As far as that, you don't need to share anymore. But I know you got to.
Well,
keep it,
we do. We in our product that's launched right now, we have the artificial intelligence coaching expert.
Okay.
We call him ACE for sure.
There you go.
In the dashboard in the far right hand side is where you can bring up that chat bot. You can put in a question, you know, how do you throw a fastball? How do you throw a cut fastball? How do you throw a slider? It'll come back and tell you that. Really? It also has some advanced stuff in there like WAR. What is WAR?
Yeah.
Wins above replacement. And as we started doing this, and I didn't know when I started this job what WAR was, but it's a really cool formula to really compare Babe Ruth against Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see kind of what their WAR is. And it's one true measure to really see how good a player was in their time versus a player now.
Yeah.
And so those are some things in there, but our team has also added the capability of being able to go in there and say, okay, what were my last 50 pitches? And then it'll come and tell you what your last 50 pitches were and the speed. And if you captured whether it was a ball or a strike or what type of ball it was a fastball, curveball, slider, it can also add all that in it and then kind of show you what it is. And then from there, you can then export that through a CSV file into Excel and start doing your own analysis as well.
Nice.
And then the other capability that I want to plug here is because it's on the phone, we can use the camera on the phone and then start overlaying the speeds over video. We'll capture 4 minutes before or 4 seconds before the pitch and 2 or 3 seconds after the pitch. So you can see the follow through, what happened with the ball, where it was placed and stuff. And so say my son was in high school, I could then start clipping some of those together, put some data with it, and create a scouting report and start sending it off to college coaches.
That's pretty cool. And then with your with the tag as well, when it comes to handheld devices, do you think at some point, do you think you guys will be able to pick up like horizontal and vertical movement and RPMs and things like that at some point?
That's on our roadmap.
Okay,
we
gotcha.
definitely want to see the spin rate. We want to see drop. We want to see lift. We want to see distance, angles. We're looking at a lot of different stuff and continually to innovate in this area.
That's pretty cool because I feel like an innovation like that would flip the baseball data tracking world on its head, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
With being able to hold all that, with your little add-on clip there. That would be pretty crazy. Yep. So that's a lot ahead for you guys. I'd be very, very eager to see how that goes.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity in this space. I mean, I think we're just tipping or touching the tip of the iceberg. There's so much available in front of us, and we're not just doing baseball, softball. There's a lot of other sports that we're looking at.
That's cool. Nice. Well, thank you very much for coming on. This is awesome. I'm always fascinated when it comes to velocity. I mean, it's just human nature. You want to see who can hit something the hardest or throw something the hardest. So thank you for coming on. Before everybody hops off, we do our 3 strikes before they get off. So we got 3 questions for you. So as we talked about a little bit earlier, so Tiger Woods, he's used on the Einstein side of your business. He's used one of your guys' radars. Do you know of any MLB guys using the Tag One Sports Radar yet?
Well, we weren't supposed to do this, but we dug into some of our data, and there's a couple of minor league teams that have got the product. They've registered it. We see. I'm not going to say the teams, but we can see their domain where they're coming from. So it's interesting to try to get some feedback from them.
That's pretty cool. That's got to be pretty validating for you to be able to see that. So. So we got strike number 2 coming up here. So I didn't make this known to our listeners immediately, but all of them know we're out of Kansas City, Missouri. So you guys are based out of on the Kansas side of the state line. You guys are in the Kansas City metropolitan area. And when I hear you talk about this Tag One Sports Radar, to me it seems kind of Silicon Valley like. Yep. Are people shocked when you guys tell them it's like, oh, our parent company is based out of Lawrence, Kansas? Are people usually kind of shocked by that?
Yeah, they are. And Kansas City has a great entrepreneurial network. I mean, a lot of startups, a lot of venture funds are here in the Kansas City area. And there's just with the University of Kansas, University of Missouri, Kansas City, Avila, Rockhurst. There's a lot of universities in the area and a lot of smart kiddos that are coming out. We had an interview today. I was just blown away of what her capabilities were and what she can do. It's just, I'm like, I've been out of school almost 30 years now. And I'm like, that was not me.
I know it is wild to see. We work with people who are 10 years younger than me on our affiliate side. There's some go-getters.
Oh, there are. Absolutely.
I was kind of a bum when I was their age. So no, we all find our way though.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's cool. And then the 3rd strike, what's the funniest thing you've ever picked up the velocity of with a Tag One Sports Radar? I'm thinking like, I don't know, like you threw a grape across your kitchen or something like that. Or
we have these little squishy balls.
Okay.
And so just in the office, we're testing and throwing and my marketing manager threw one at me and I was holding my glasses in my right hand and tried to catch it and it hit my glasses, knocked them on the lens fell out. And so that's one of the things that we try to do in the office and test and just see if we're doing it. But I've put it on the back of my phone because my wife and I walk our dogs in the evening sometimes.
Yeah.
And we live right behind a school.
Okay.
And kids and people are always just driving fast down that road. So I'm going to take mine and start capturing screenshots of how
there
fast
you go. Yeah.
cars are driving down our.
You got the 4 seconds ahead and 3 seconds up there.
And I'm going to say, slow down. You know, the grumpy old man.
That's hilarious. Well, awesome. Thank you again for coming on to the show. This is super cool.
Appreciate it.
And I'm very excited to see where you guys are going with this product. So we'll be sure to keep close eye on you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. To all our listeners out there, if you enjoyed the episode, please go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple, the 5-star rating's great. And as always, just go ahead if you guys find this content interesting. I know today wasn't so gloves heavy, more baseball interest. Just share it with your friends. We would be more than happy to get as many new listeners as we can. Next month, we'll be back with more gloves for you guys. Till then, have a great day.